Alright, I want to build a bulldozer. And here's my basic first drawing of what I'm thinking about. And my first thing I had to figure out was, do I want car steering or like tank steering? And the problem with car steering is you need a differential, and then you can have a locking differential, but then what if you want full traction going around corners? Anyway, there's problems with that. So then I was like, okay, maybe a tank drive, and that gives the option of actually having tank treads too, which is better traction. Now most tank drives, like the simplest one, is the kind of thing where you have one motor on one side that controls one tread or one set of wheels or whatever you have, and another motor on the other side that controls that. And then you have one lever here and one lever there, and you push both forward, both wheels go forward, you pull back, both wheels go back. You can go like this to steer. Now the problem with that is first, it's really hard to go like in a really straight line, because if there's any variation in your two sides, you'll kind of start creeping one way or the other. And say you're driving at 10 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour, whatever. That's a good speed for driving, but then when you steer, you don't want to steer so fast because you'll just fly around in circles, and it's hard to adjust yourself. So you have to have lots of speed control in that, and there's some difficulties with it, because there's a better way to do it mechanically. I built this thing like, I don't know, 20 years ago, and this is only half of it. I used the other half for something already. But it was this weird I looked it up online what it was the other day. I think it was called a dual differential drive system or something. I don't actually use differentials. I used planetary gears here. But anyway, I made one with Lego, and let me show you how it works. Okay, this is obviously not to scale and has the wrong wheels and whatever. It doesn't matter. So this gear here is where the main drive motor goes. So as you drive forward and backwards, that spins, right? Now this does nothing when you drive straight forward and backwards. But if you lock this in place and you just want to turn on the spot, then the steering wheel turns. And so this would be the drive for the steering. And I think I'm actually just going to make this manual, so you just hold onto it. Anyway, so that way you can have a big motor for the drive, and then you don't need something as huge, like you can just do it by hand for the steering. And the cool thing about this is they add together, so you can actually go around curves, like do arcs, and you just set your drive motor to go, and then you just steer wherever you want. So whether or not you're moving, you will turn the same number of degrees per rotation of this. So this does the exact same thing whether you're moving or staying still. Now if you want to see how this works, it's actually really cool. Alright, there's two main sets of things. First, let's cover the drive gears, and you can see that better from the bottom. So this is where the main motor would be. You see it moves the two wheels. And these three gears are just to gear it down so it's slower and stronger. And then this goes out through this differential to the axle here, and it goes through a differential to the axle here. Now right now all the differentials do is just reverse the rotation. And the way I'm going to do it, it'll be with planetary gears, so it won't even reverse the rotation. But this gives you, the two wheels are basically locked together, and they'll turn at the same rate. Pretty simple, right? Now what if you could turn the housing of the differentials? Well, that would also turn the wheels. But in the well, I'll tell you why in the opposite direction. Hold on. Let's flip it over and go back to the steering part up here. So the steering part, it's geared down, and then it has one axle here that touches the differential housing on this side, and then it has a second axle here which turns the opposite direction because of these two gears here. And this gear over here turns this differential. So the two differentials get turned in the opposite direction, and that turns the wheels in the opposite direction. So you got the drive in here that turns the wheels together, and this that turns them opposite. I love this design because it makes it so easy to drive and steer, because you can have one big motor driving both wheels together, and then you can just steer and make whatever adjustments you need to in your steering like this. So that's the drive I want to use. So people send me money on Patreon and PayPal sometimes, so I'm going to use some of that on this. And I basically went on eBay and a couple other stores that I know of and started buying parts that I know I need and then drawing them in here as I bought them. Now everything from here out is stainless steel or aluminum. So these rods are all stainless steel, and that way I can put the housing here, and then everything on the inside can be rusty steel, but that'll never be exposed to anything. But then everything exposed to the outside will be non-rusty. And here's basically what it'll look like when it's together. I'm buying all the parts for the drive, but I'm gonna build the the housing out of fiberglass here just from scratch, I think. And then for the scooper, I'm not sure how that's gonna work yet. I'll probably make it out of fiberglass too, maybe with some either stainless steel or aluminum front edge, to, you know, so the fiberglass doesn't get chewed up scooping into the dirt. But yeah, basically you sit up here, and it's not going to have any particular chair or anything. It's just going to have a flat area, and it's got the foot pedal here. So you push it, you tip it that way, it goes that way. You tip it that way, it goes that way. And then the steering wheel just sticks up straight in the middle, and you just turn it. And you know, it might take a little bit of muscle to turn it if you're just doing a tank turn on the spot, because the tires are going to drag. But that's okay. I don't want to just sit in a machine and just like do levers. I hate that. I want to actually use my muscles a little bit. But you know, it'll be easy to steer like while driving, because the wheels will be coming up, and you know, anyway. But then you can hop off here and sit on the other side, and you just have the exact same thing. Like that's why the pedals symmetrical and the steering wheel symmetrical. You sit over here, so that you could drive one way, and then say you want to back out the same way, because that's what you do a lot of times in a bulldozer, at least from my experience. You go one way, and then you back up, put the stuff somewhere, and then you go back, and you can't kind of keep going back and forth in the same place a lot, just moving stuff. So this way, you don't have to reverse the whole time. You can just hop around to the other side and drive that way. And then there'll be, oh yeah, here's a smaller one. There'll be like solar panel on top. That'll keep the batteries topped up. And everything that I've drawn in this drawing, these are all sprockets and gears and bearings and everything. There's a motor. All that stuff fits inside here and inside here, except for the batteries. That's why this big butt part sticks out at the back here. That'll be where the batteries go. And I'm thinking 4 golf cart batteries, so I might only be able to fit like 3 of them in there, and then I can put one in the front. But anyway, I want most of the weight in the back so that this can scoop stuff and it's counterweighted. But I also want the weight close to the axle so I don't pop a wheelie all the time. And then I'm not sure how I'm going to do the scoop yet, but I was thinking of having it just kind of pivoted up here somewhere, and then having a lever sticking up, and then you can just grab the lever and pull it, and it lifts the whole thing up, and make the lever nice and long so that it has a lot of leverage. So this is just kind of go, and then have a part that'll let it dump. Anyway, I'm going to think about that more. It would be kind of nice to have everything. It'd be nice to have only one motor in the whole thing, and then everything else just operated by hands. Okay, and here I've got my 18-inch wheels. I think they might have been 8 inches wide. Anyway, but because they're operating like on a tank drive system, that means I can build over the tire tank treads to go over them. So I'll leave enough space between, you know, the thing and there that tank treads could go across here. But I'm kind of thinking no tank treads. The reason I didn't just do straight up tank treads is because if your tank treads break, it's kind of hard to replace because it's a really specific item. But like with something like this, even if all 4 wheels broke, I could just find any 4 matching wheels and just attach them on there. I mean, I could get like tree trunks and cut them with a chainsaw to make round things and bolt them on there if I really had to. and it would work. Now I have to wait for parts for like months. Like probably like 2.5 months before they'll get here. Oh, I forgot. I already bought a bunch of planetary gear things from I think it's from an automatic transmission on a car. And these are going to be in the place of these differentials. So the one input will actually come through here and turn this gear, which is geared down, I think 2.5 or 3 times. So this part will actually be cut off and the axle will come through there, and then the main drive will come off this. So it'll also gear it down, which is really nice. It's a huge advantage over just using like a differential. And then the steering one will be here. So this will drive the steering, and then that one will drive the driving.